Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Keeping It Real.
I's William.
And I'm Sequita. Glad you could be here.
Well, today we are going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Keys to a covenant marriage. Is that it? Keys to a covenant.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about keys to a covenant marriage. Part of talking about keys to a covenant marriage is I wanted to go back to when we first met, and that's where our covenant started during our what I'll call our dating phase, which was very short, by the way. And one of the things that I asked Aquita to do, I don't know how long we had been talking or going through the process, but one of the things I asked Aquita to do is to meet me in prayer at the throne of God. We both got quiet, and I really sensed that Sequita was with me before the throne of God. And this is before we got married. And something that I learned over the last few weeks is we should, before we think about marriage or getting involved with anybody, is to meet them in the spirit. And Sequita asked me a very key question. She says, "Well, what do you say? How do you make that practical? What does that mean?"
Yeah. Like people today, like what does that mean? Some people may not be able to wrap their head around it. When you say meet me at in the spirit at the throne of God, people are like, run that back again? What do you
So
mean?
one of the things we discussed when we was talking about this topic, and we were sitting at lunch together, and I said, "Well, that's a good question. How is that practical?" So for me, I'm pursuing the heart of God. I'm pursuing God. Um, I'm pursuing Him. I'm wanting to please Him. I'm not fornicating. You know, when we talk about marriage and people talking about shacking up, I mean, shacking up and hooking up with each other. I've learned that that is a serious communicating disruption between you and God. And so there can't be any of that. You have to have a heart that is pursuing Him,
Hmm.
and the other person's heart have to be suing him as well. So what I was sharing with Sequita was, what does that look like? What is for me to say meet me in the spirit? I already knew Sequita was consecrated to God. I knew she was consecrated to the Father. I knew that she wasn't pursuing another man. I knew she wasn't pursuing her own pursuits. She was literally pursuing God's heart, or her God's will. Let me say it this way: God's will for her life. And I'll let her speak on that. Me at that time, I wasn't pursuing anything. I was just doing business, but I always wanted to. I didn't want to displease God. I didn't want to live a type of lifestyle that I couldn't hear Him, or I wasn't reading my word or anything like that. So when I said meet me in the spirit, it simply means that you are pursuing God and I am pursuing God. I'm not pursuing Sequita. Sequita's not pursuing William. But when we hook up, we are both together pursuing God. So when I say meet me in the spirit, we both are, our heart posture is towards God.
Hmm.
Our heart posture, our character, our nature, our goals, our desire is to please Him. So when I say meet me in the spirit, we are both on one accord towards God. Now, does that mean she and I agree about everything? Does that mean that both of us have the same methods of doing things? No. But the one thing that I did gain out of this revelation is we both had a single purpose to please God.
Hmm.
So I said, meet me in the spirit. Well, it's easy for her to do because she already been praying to God and talking to God. And so was I. So when I said, meet me at the throne of God, we both went to God in prayer and we sat before Him. Not a whole lot of words were said. We just sat
Hmm.
there before Him. Didn't ask for anything. We sat there before Him. And I think it's very vital, Sequita, that we communicate this, because a lot of people are getting in relationships that are unequal.
Hmm.
They're unequally yoked. And how are they unequally yoked? They're unequally yoked because one may be pursuing God's heart and the other person say they Christian or they this or that, but they're not pursuing the heart of God. They're pursuing something else. And so that makes it unequally yoked. I heard people say, well, you shouldn't be yoked up with unbelievers. Well, that's true. But a
But it happens
Christian,
every day.
well, here's the thing though, Sequita, a Christian can be an unbeliever. Go ahead. I see your head spinning.
They can be an unbeliever. They can be Christian and an unbeliever because they are religious. Okay. 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 because
You could be, you could
they
be,
go
you
through
could,
the motions of such and they don't have a relationship.
you
I
could
was
be.
taught to go to Bible study on Wednesday. I have to go to church on Sunday. I have to serve in a community group or serve at church. Like I am just going through the motions of Christianity, religious
Yeah.
Christianity, and I don't. Okay, I got you. I got you.
It's a checklist. I
Yeah.
check. I went
Yeah.
to church. Check. I prayed. Check. But there's no real intimacy with God.
And so, in that respect, if we're talking about in singlehood and you are pursuing your relationship with God, there's the checklist, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's the checklist that most women have.
Mm-hmm.
And when they live by that checklist without a relationship with God, it becomes legalistic because this is my checklist and he has to be X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Mm-hmm.
And I have blinders on
Yep.
and I don't evolve as God, and my relationship with God helps me to evolve in this really is not a checklist of what you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for. Your checklist is not he has this job, he makes this money, he lives here, he looks like this, he's tall, he's dark, he's whatever. Your checklist becomes he's respectful. He honors God. He has a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with me. He has a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with his family. He, whatever it is, it turns into character attributes
Mm-hmm.
that are
Mm-hmm.
building the person, able to build you. It's not materialistic things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all the things that the world says should be your 10 checklist.
Right.
It's what God says it should be. The same way that it's a Proverbs 31 woman,
Mm-hmm.
there are biblical attributes that your list changes from. Because
Mm-hmm.
I had a list, but at the top of my list always was someone who loves God, someone who is like my dad, who knows how to put his family first with God and all those things. Yes, there are other things, money, blah, blah, blah. But I think when people don't have a relationship, it's easy to live off of this list.
Mm-hmm.
And when God sends you someone who is opposite of what your list is, if you don't have a relationship, you're going to miss the blessing that God has for you
Mm-hmm.
because you're living off this list.
Well,
That's what I think.
and that's the same thing for men. What I ain't gonna say all men because that's obviously not true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say for me, you're looking at looks.
Mhm.
How is she shaped?
Mhm.
Um, um, how does she fit on my arm when I introduce her to my boys and stuff like
Mhm.
that? You know, that's
Yeah.
that persona. But do you actually look at her intellectually? Do you look at her spiritually? Do you look at her character, her nature? Do you look at all that?
Mhm.
So my thing was after going through a couple of relationships, I learned that I'm going to pursue God's heart and God's going to show me as I'm searching.
Mhm.
God's going to show me there she is. She's pursuing my heart. She's
Mhm.
pursuing me. She's not
Mhm.
pursuing looks. She's not
Mhm.
pursuing money. She's not pursuing your car. None
Mhm.
of that. None of that means anything to her.
Mhm.
What she wants is a man that loves God.
Mhm.
And so I don't think we've experienced this. The key is a intimate relationship with God. What's the key to a covenant marriage? Is when two individuals are already in covenant with God.
Mhm.
If I'm in covenant with him and you're in covenant with him, then our covenant comes together with him
Mhm.
and then nothing. And we've experienced this, Aquita. We've experienced challenges in our marriage. We've experienced our quirks with each other. But ultimately, we came to this agreement. We came to this agreement at the beginning of our relationship. I see you as God's daughter,
Mhm.
and you see me as God's son.
Mhm.
Therefore, if I mistreat God's daughter, I'm mistreating him.
Mhm.
And if you're mistreating God's son, you're mistreating him. And that's the understanding that we have
Mhm.
and that we had at the beginning and we continue to have.
Mhm.
So do we I don't know. I'm gonna pose this question. Have we ever argued?
Disagreements, but not like, oh, that kind of argument. No, because that's not who we are. Have we had moments of silence? Absolutely. But I don't recall. in our 18 years having an argument like that's like slamming doors or I'm getting in the car and driving off. Like
Yeah.
we haven't had those. We just have the moments of silence, and those over the years have gotten less frequent and really not because of what you said. The remembrance of you are his son, you are God's son, I'm God's daughter, and we take those things to him, and then he course corrects through our covenant relationships with him and each other.
What I like about what you just said is he course corrects,
Yeah.
because if I want to course correct, I may be trying to, how can I say, I may be trying to shape you in my image and in my
Mhm.
likeness.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's a violation of God's principles. It's a
Right.
violation of who God, it's a violation of, I'm going to say it that way. It's a violation of a principle of God.
Yeah.
God said, I've made you in my image and in my
Mhm.
likeness. If I don't take it to God and if there's something I dislike about you or whatever the case may be, or I'm upset at, if I
Mhm.
don't take it to God and I take it upon myself, then I am trying to, and I'm just going to say it this way. People in marriage relationships and relationship period try to shape and form people into their image and into their likeness.
Mhm.
That's a violation.
Well, I mean, it
So
goes back to the list.
yeah, well, yeah.
It goes
So
back
you
to the list. If there's no relationship and covenant with God, you go back to the list that you thought that this person was going to be, or your perfect listing, and it's not who they are. People aren't going to change like that. Like, let it go already. I know people like this.
well, that leads into deception and manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and I'm not gonna say names. Remember we had a life group, right? Remember that life
Yeah.
group we had,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we would invite couples over, and this particular lady was trying to get Sequita to get me to eat certain foods. And I was listening to this conversation. She says, "Well, just sneak it to him." I'm like, "Who? What? What? You trying to teach my? I ain't gonna say teach. Influence my wife to manipulate me, to deceive me? Is that what you're doing?" Needless to say, that life group didn't last long because I
I
just
was born.
it didn't it did I just some things I just don't I can't tolerate. I'm not going to tolerate. But anyway, so the key to covenant marriage is each person pursuing their relationship with God, and I want to say it this way, individually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when they come together in their relationship with God with the to allow that person to be who God made that person to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got something else? We got 16 minutes in. I think I shared this before. I wasn't pursuing. I was not pursuing. I wasn't particularly pursuing a wife at the time. I wasn't pursuing a woman at the time. I wasn't doing any of that. It just happened to. Let's say it this way. I wasn't pursuing a woman naturally, but my heart was always towards, can I share my life with somebody? That's always been my, I ain't gonna say
Right.
always.
Yeah.
It's for a long time. That's been my heart. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's when you think about it, that's God's heart.
It
God
is.
wa- God wants to
Yeah.
share his life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, his eternal life with us. That's what he wants to do. And so a person that pursues his heart begin to take on the characteristics and nature of his. And
Mm-hmm.
so naturally, no, I wasn't pursuing because I had been in relationships where I was emotionally compromised. I won't say damaged. That's not what I wanted to say. I would say I was emotionally compromised. I was compromised and I was compromising. So, I wasn't pursuing. But then the that I've said this before, that app popped up and it was like, go ahead and get on there. And so I got on there and I met Sequita like what, February 17th, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the process started. Cause I purposely said I'm not staying on here because I wasn't interested in staying on there. And plus it was just getting overwhelming. And then we went through the process and we ended up
And here we are.
connecting online. Now I know people thought it would fail, but
Here we
it
are.
didn't.
What you
It
got to
didn't.
say about it now? What you got to say about it now? Ha ha!
And it didn't fail. And it's not going to fail because of our covenant relationship with the Father and our covenant relationship with each other.
Okay, it won't.
Well, got anything else about I mean,
Don't.
anything else about a key to covenant marriage? Wish we had somebody here to ask us questions.
Oh, I know. Well, we don't. There's nobody we can invite at the last minute. So we have to do better. It's time for us to start inviting people.
We will. We need to find some people to invite.
Yes. We may edit this a little bit, I think.
So if you were a newlywed couple, what question would you have? A newlywed wife, what question would you have?
Oh my gosh. Nothing about covenant. It would probably be something like, okay, you guys both work full time. How do you divvy up the household things?
No, that's not covenant. Here's my
No, it's not covenant. I can't think of anything
here's my
off the
question.
rip.
Here's my question. Now that I've heard this, William and Sequita, and I hear what you're saying. What if I have entered into my marriage or my relationship without this covenant with God, and without this covenant with, or meeting what you guys have said, meeting this person in the spirit? What do I do now? Do I get a divorce? Do I separate? What do I do?
Well, I'm not a counselor, but it's never too late to establish a relationship with God. Like, it's okay to say, let's pump the brakes here and talk about your relationships that you have with God, and lack of a better thing, start over. It's never too late. Like, it's never too late for us to build a relationship with God. He's waiting. He's waiting with bated breath for you to come to him and say. And so I would say to them, go to him together in your flesh, not even thinking about the spirit in that relationship, but go together to seek God's purpose and plan for your relationship. And are you seeing each other as daughters and sons of God first? I don't know. That's what
I didn't ask you to be a counselor, first of all. I just asked if somebody asked that question. You're such a professional. I forgot. You want to, I don't want to put a claim out there that I'm this. But we
exactly,
are,
because I'm not.
but we are life coaches,
We are. But
certified.
I know some things need something that I can't offer, and I know my limits.
Okay, well, good. You put your little disclaimer there. That's great. So here's what I would say: some relationships. If a person was to ask us that, what do I do if I haven't done what you guys said?
Well, we advise.
We coach. I would encourage.
Shared.
What?
Says shared. Go ahead.
Encourage, share, whatever. Sequita, stop correcting me before I come in there.
What I do is what I do.
Yeah, you do. You do it well. I would encourage, coach. What else was the other word you said?
We shared what you said, what we did. I said what we shared about our relationship and the covenant and meeting, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so anyway, person asks us, we didn't do it the way y'all did it. But we need to do it because it's important that we have a covenant with God. It's important that we have a commitment to the heart of the Father. It's important that we have a commitment in the heart to each other. It's important that we see ourselves as God's son and God's daughter. What if we didn't start off that way? I would say, I would encourage, and I'm not a counselor, let me put that disclaimer in there. Each person go to God individually. Also with what you said, because you do have to go together. But the reason why you and I could go together initially, Sequita, is because both of us were pursuing him. And so if a person is not pursuing him, if a lady has her checklist, if a guy has his eye on how good she look, that's already out of order. And so you enter into the relationship, a godly relationship, let me say it this way, out of order. And now you're married out of order. Doesn't mean that you have to get a divorce. We're not saying that you need to get a divorce. You need to start. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that God can restore through repentance. And repentance is just a simple change of mind and change directions and go back to the source. God, we got off course. We entered into this based off of our image and our likeness, based off of what we felt like we should have. How can we, not even how can we, I am surrendering my heart to you, husband. I am surrendering my heart to you, wife. I'm surrendering my heart to you, son. I'm surrendering my heart to you, daughter. And you surrender that to God. You surrender that to the Father. And then he will make crooked things straight. He will make crooked things straight. And I would venture to say that divorce rates would go down if we meet each other in the spirit before we meet each other in the flesh. I would venture to say that.
Okay.
You still ain't got no question. Come on, Miss
No, I
Business-minded
don't.
woman.
I don't. I don't have any more questions. We are so glad that you have joined us for this episode of Keeping Up with the Carlisles.
Yeah, she's trying to push me off. Y'all see her? Go ahead.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
That's it.
Yes, we're trying to keep these episodes to bite-sized pieces,
Well, it's
not chunks
26.
of an elephant.
All right.
One
Listen,
of my
listen.
coworker says that to her team all the time. I know we have a big elephant to eat, but we just have to take chunks of the elephant until we eat it all. Where it come from?
All right. Okay. Anyway,
Keeping it
keeping it real. Keys to a covenant marriage. Keeping it real. And on our next episode, we're going to talk about
What
how
are
to
we
keep
gonna
the marriage real. And this one, I think this one's going to be interesting because one of the things of keeping their marriage real is being honest with each other. So, keeping it real with the Carlisles. I'm William.
And I'm Sequita. Bye.
Bye.